Now we are going to discuss about plagiarism and how to avoid it by paraphrasing and summarizing.
Plagiarism seems to be a very serious problem.
It is. It can be considered a crime.
Oh my God.
Yes, that's why you should try to avoid it as much as you can.
So what are considered to be plagiarism exactly?
Plagiarism is taking someone else's words, ideas, data, research, and portraying them as your own in your academic paper. That is stealing. That is stealing someone else's work. There is even an entire branch of law that dedicates itself to this issue. I don't know if you have heard about intellectual property rights, but this is a huge problem even among governments and states. Some companies, some states copy someone else's product and they sell it as their own, gaining all the benefits derived from that, of course, and that is stealing. So us as researchers, we should also avoid that. We should always give the credit of some idea that is not our own to the author of that idea, of course.
So how can we avoid making plagiarism? You know, sometimes we do not do that on purpose.
Yes, we should always try to list our sources. We must keep track of everything that we borrow from another author, and in the end always show it in our paper that we are borrowing that idea or that those words. And so for that, there are a few ways of citation, and that depends on your teacher or your professor or your university to choose which one you must use.
Yeah, I see. I know about citations and reference lists.
Yes.
But I have a problem. You know, citations usually cost a lot of time when writing, and the reference list is always, also very hard to make.
Yeah.
And I'm always moving my words around when writing. So I usually do the citations first and do the reference list last. But in the process, I may be forgetting many of the references. So how can I keep track of them?
It is very important that you do keep track. You do not want to fall into plagiarism. There are some softwares that can help you do that.
Yeah.
They will keep track of the sources you use, and in the end, they will make a list of it. They can do the reference list for you. You can use those.
Wow, that sounds really convenient. I won't be forgetting any one of my references with the help of a software.
Yes. Never forget any idea that you borrow or that you think is not yours or is not common knowledge, you must list it.
So is there any other ways to avoid plagiarism apart from doing references?
Well, yes, of course. You can use paraphrasing and summarizing. First, summarizing. Mm-hmm. When you summarize some author's idea, you do not want to write a whole paragraph or a whole page of some other author's words. Instead, what you can do is read it, understand it, and then summarize it. A good summary shouldn't be more than 1/3 of the original work.
So how can I write a good summary? Should I add some my own views into a summary?
Yes, if you want, you can. Of course, when you summarized the main problem or the main work you must do, the main task you must do, is that you must focus on the key points of the idea, on the key words of it, and those are the ones you must write. Again, you can use your own words to write that idea, but that would be paraphrasing, which is the second way to avoid plagiarism. And that is, you do not have to write exactly what the other author wrote, but what you can do is to use your own words. That also shows your professor, the one that will be reading your paper, that you have understood what you read from another author, because you are processing it. You are using your own words to express what he meant.
Okay.
Yes. So always try to synthesize when you summarize, try to make it shorter. And also when you paraphrase, well, try to use your own words or different words that are not exactly the ones that the author used. But again, you are You are showing his idea, you are using the same idea. You should not change that. And for that, you should list your source. You should citate that.
And when doing summarizing and paraphrasing, so I should also keep an objective point of view.
Always.
So it seems that everything needs a source. So is it possible that I can write a paper full of other people's ideas and not including any of my own opinions?
It could be possible, in fact, to do that, but that is not recommended, because if you do that, your professor would never know if you know what you're talking about, if you know about the field you're researching on. If you only list another author's ideas, you are not producing knowledge by yourself. You are not adding anything to the field you're researching on. So you should link the different authors' ideas with your own analysis, with your own knowledge.
Yes, and should be careful to create reference lists to avoid plagiarism.
Yes.
So I now know more about plagiarism, and I think I can now write my papers more confidently.